Welcome back. You're watching the Power Breakfast Show. Now, this morning, we're going to be speaking to Mr. Polycarp Igathe. He's a trustee with the Kenya Private Sector Alliance, and we want to listen to the concerns that the private sector has in regard to what has been going on in the country, matters corruption, the IEBC stalemate, and we want you to be part and parcel of the conversation. 22422 is the SMS line, or you can get us on Twitter. The hashtag is Power Breakfast. We'd really love to hear from you. But for now, I hand you over to Mr. Njau. Mr. Njau?
Thank you, Karagu. Welcome to this stage. I don't know whether you've been here before.
No, I've been here. I was here in another program talking about career choices.
Okay.
And thank you for having me.
Thank you. You told me earlier that you are a co-chair of an organization called Kenya Daima.
Yes.
What is that?
Kenya Daima is a platform and a movement inspired by Kenya Private Sector Alliance, incorporating the church, incorporating civil society, incorporating national youth student leaders, and we have come together to take responsibility and say we want to inspire Kenya to peaceful political contests or elections and prosperity thereafter. We started in 2012 after the 07-08 debacle. We in business realized we've been very naive to expect. We sit back and expect. We always say politics has nothing to do with business. And then what happened is we really suffered. So we came back and said, 2012, can we do something? So we came together and we organized ourselves and drove a campaign that was saying, mwenye inchi sio mwananchi. Which means we are when you own a country, you're not, because politicians address us as wananchi. We are mwenye inchi. You are mwenye inchi, I'm mwenye inchi, because
the country is ours.
It is ours. It doesn't belong to them.
Yeah.
And that's why they call us the power. That's why we elect them. That's why we give them a ticket. So the essence of Kenya Daima is to inspire Kenya to peaceful elections and prosperity thereafter. And it's just it's an inspiration from KEPSA. It's not owned by KEPSA. It's a grouping that brings together very different constituencies. In fact, as I speak to you, we've met media owners. We have met the church. Yesterday we had a meeting with evangelicals. We have met student leaders. We have had sessions with security people in the security forces of government. Yesterday we had a meeting with a roundtable with the government in waiting. You people in the media call them the opposition. And we had a very nice roundtable with them. And the whole idea is we are not there to build our CVs. We are there to actually say, as the distributors of the national cake go ahead with their political contest, they must remember the bakers of the national cake want peace. Peace to be able to continue leading their lives, because there is life after elections. And Mutegi, you know, since independence, I'm just giving you the grounding of what Kenya Daima is. Every 5 years, we have GDP going to zero during an election year. So we are facing an election year. So that is why in Kenya Daima, I am the co-chair. My colleague is Vimal Shah, who's been the co-chair, and obviously we report into Dennis Awori, who is the chairman of the Kenya Private Sector Alliance, and of course also we have Manu Chandaria, who's the chairman of the Trustee Foundation of Kenya Private Sector Alliance.
How extensive is this Kenya Daima? Is it a Nairobi outfit?
No, it's the private sector is not a Nairobi outfit. Private sector is everywhere. We have members in Wajir, we have members in Kisumu, we have members in Mombasa, we have members in Kwale, we have members everywhere around the country.
All of them are saying about Kenya Daima?
Absolutely. It is a and there is no subscription. It's not a membership organization. Kenya Daima is a platform. It's an emporium, as the Greek used to say. It's like Windows, and on Windows you have Word, you have Excel, you have, so whatever you are, just it's a spirit, it's an attitude to actually say, when me and you disagree, Mutegi, whether for business, whether for politics, we must remember to disagree agreeably, because at the end of the day there is a country. We can't destroy Kenya. And at the heart of Kenya Daima, Mutegi, is to change Kenyan's mental model. You know, today our mental model is haki yetu, not wajibu wetu. Move from our rights, which are there, assured in the Constitution after 2010, but let's move to what's our responsibility. And also, right now, as we speak, and I always challenge you in the media, and we also in private sector. There are very many people in Kenya who like to generate heat, not light. Inspire light. In Kenya they might want light, not heat. There's a lot of heat. Even when you look, newspapers sell because headlines generate heat, not because they generate light. Politicians, they grow in stature because they generate heat, not because they generate light. And also another thing is, there's a we have a mental model in Kenya where, especially we in business, increasingly many people think I will make money as a racketeer or as a bandit, rather than as a long-term investor who really pays his taxes, who gives a real job. A real job is a job that has medical benefits, that has pension, that really helps somebody have a livelihood. And hopefully, and we may be naive, maybe the audience out there think we are very naive pursuing such a thing. I would also say is we want to move this country from a mentality of always thinking about identity, not the issue. Like right now, there are very many people at home looking at you and me and saying, where are these people from in Kenya? Which part of Kenya are they from? So what will they be talking about? If you go across this country, the issues are the same. Everybody wants a job. Everybody wants security. Everybody wants good health. Everybody wants good education. Everybody wants a good quality of life. Everybody wants the undertrodden to be helped. So the issues are common. But we have tended to put a screen on top of that issue and bring the issue of identity. No. And that is what we want to mute. We want to de-risk the country to say underlying the identity is a very common ground called issues, and perhaps that's what we should talk about, because we created a document that assured representation in 2010, and that's why in Kenya Daima, I think in a very long way, I've told you the mental model, why we did it. We were very successful. By the way, the first election in Kenya ever to have GDP growth was 2013. We had 4.6. I think we have agreed as a private sector and as a church and as civil society and as young people, everybody under the Kenya Daima spirit, our goal is to try and achieve 6% GDP growth next year. Let's see. I don't know that you'll succeed with that, because you have told me you've been talking to the leaders, the president and also the former prime minister. The latest was the former prime minister. You talked to him yesterday. What was the nature of your discussion? Our nature of the discussion, obviously, first of all, we really were grateful to get audience with him. We called him and he immediately invited us, and our nature of discussion was to invite him. We made an appeal to him, and we also made an appeal to the president yesterday that we would like to see the leader of the government of the day and the leader of the government in waiting together on Madaraka Day. That was our appeal. But is it going to happen? God willing, inshallah, they say. God willing, we hope it will happen. And I think, are you not being too idealistic? You know, the world was changed by people who are very idealistic. True. And we are not trying to change the world. We went to our leaders. They listened to us with a lot of humility. They are very concerned, both our leaders. And I believe, beyond the heat you generate in the media and all the headlines you write, these two people really care deeply about Kenya, and they are very concerned with the escalation of matters. And I'm praying to God that they will be together on Madaraka Day. But if they are not together, tomorrow. Yes. Have faith, Mutegi. Have faith. What reason do I have to have faith when, after meeting you, former Prime Minister Raila Odinga said he gave conditions under which he can do that? But what kind of condition did he give? Then here again I come and I say, look, can you people in the media help us by changing your paradigm from heat to light? We love your stories. Let me give you an example. You always analyze newspapers here. Yes. I really love Seeds of Gold. There's something both newspapers write about agriculture. On Saturdays. Yes. On Saturdays, that is light. That is not heat. But somehow I think newspapers are sold based on sensational headlines. And I'm not saying I know anything beyond what journalists know. I'm just saying I'm also part of the problem, because even us in private sector, sometimes we generate a lot of heat. I'll give you an example. we are always accusing government of corruption, but we are the most corrupt we in private sector. I say that in KEPSA all the time, and I'm very happy that we can have that conversation. Before we go preaching to anybody else, can we sort ourselves out? Yes.
But what is the possibility, apart from your prayers and hope, that CORD is not going to Uhuru Park tomorrow?
You know, CORD has a right.
But you have told me that you have told Raila to go to Nakuru.
We've not told him. We've appealed him. Appealed to him. We've appealed to him that Madaraka Day is a national day. We've appealed to the president that Madaraka Day is a national day, and I think we've appealed to both to say, let's show Kenyans that there is light behind the issues you're raising. There is no heat. It's not just political heat, and I think we got listened to.
Did the president promise to invite the Prime Minister to Nakuru?
Yes, I think the invitation is already there, and he confirmed to us that CORD has an invitation to Nakuru, that they will be treated with all the decorum and stature of an opposition, because an opposition is very important, not just to Kenya, especially to private sector.
It is important to protect the government.
We love a strong opposition, because, and that is what, actually you asked me what we told the former Prime Minister. We told him we love a strong opposition because we have information we can give to you to hold this government to account in Parliament. Across our business membership organization, from the Chamber of Commerce to construction people to manufacturers to small business people, we have a lot of information of what can be done better off to improve the social pillar, the economic pillar of Vision 2030, and we think your members of Parliament can hold the government to account. And he really accepted. We also spoke to him about, and he assured us his commitment to peace. He raised, he also raised his own reservations about what he thinks is not going right. But he's a really committed Kenya. He's a true Kenya Daima. I can tell you, the Right Honorable Odinga is Kenya Daima. President Uhuru Kenyatta is Kenya Daima, and they are friends. Me and you don't have to introduce them. So they will. So then that's why I'm telling you.
Why then are we going to have to see what will probably tomorrow? Why should I believe that there will be no violence tomorrow?
I don't think. In fact, why has violence occurred? Violence has occurred because maybe during the demonstrations, elements that should not have entered the demonstration have come. You and I should celebrate the day we can say Moi Avenue is closed between 11 and 12:30 because there will be a demonstration, and people demonstrate and they are addressed by who they are supposed to be addressed by, and they picket and life continues. But that's a very idealistic. Maybe when people listen to me they think, but this happens. It happens in countries like Norway, it happens in a country like Britain, that you can picket without any bloodshed. But I can tell you, Mutegi, you know, for my sins, I ran a business next to IEBC called Vic Preston Petrol Station. I ran another one called Shell Valley Road. We watch, we have CCTVs, and we watch what goes on when they are picketing. There are elements, and I don't think those people are sent by CORD or Jubilee either. I just think we are a country with 40% unemployment. There are young people who will take advantage of this to try and create chaos. And this is why we are saying the streets is not where to have national conversations. It's on tables.
But the government has said that Uhuru Park, Nyayo Stadium will be closed tomorrow because there are two conflicting meetings that are supposed to take place. And CORD has said they will disregard that closure.
Mutegi, I'm a simple businessman, and just the same way you are a simple journalist. I will not speak for government, neither will I try and attempt to speak for the government in waiting. But the government of the day wants to keep peace. The other side, the opposition is trying to make a point. They are saying we are disrespected, we are excluded, we are held in contempt. This is the message I've heard from their side. And this message has been carried to this other side. So why is there no hygiene? We have come in as Kenya Daima. Our mission is not to change Kenya or to try and pretend to lord it over our leaders.
So why are you not?
We are saying let's infuse hygiene and health in the political conversation. Because if me and you have personal insults between one another, this side versus this other side, we will never have a common ground. So let even the politicians on both sides who really like to make things personal, it's time to maybe back out a bit.
But your appeals for hygiene don't seem to be working. Because all of them are attacking the utterances. All the utterances are not. They are all entrenching their stance.
I think, with respect, our appeals for hygiene have just gone through in the last few days. Let's see what happens by the time we get to Monday.
To Monday or tomorrow?
Even tomorrow. Let's wait and see. Tomorrow is a long time. 24 hours is a long time. I always say time is our friend. It's not our enemy.
Let's hope so.
Yes.
Now to business of business.
Sure.
You met the president earlier, where you pledged that you are going to make some law that will, the private companies that involve themselves in corruption will have a system of catching up with them and prosecuting them. And there is a draft bill already. I
think it's gone through Parliament already. Yes. There's a draft anti-bribery bill.
Yes.
That has been deliberated in Bunge.
Yes.
And I think.
Talk more about it.
Yes. I think the leader for us in that bill was Bob Collymore of Safaricom, together with the chairman, the now chairman of Central Bank, Wakili, and it has gone through Parliament. And what we are saying is we want to see a little bit more effective consequence management. You know, Mutegi, the problem in Kenya is not a lack of integrity; it's a lack of consequences. Because what Kenyans are saying out there is, who has ever been arraigned in court, charged, found guilty, and then jailed, or something has happened to them because they are corrupt? This is a frustration out there, and this is why our Chief Justice said, and I've heard him in speeches earlier saying, there is a racketeer mentality and a bandit mentality in our economic side of things. And he's right, because if you look at most regulators in Kenya, they believe when you're a small businessman, you can do business any way you want. They think in terms of big and small, not good versus bad. So you get away. The first few people we are starting to see managing consequences is actually the central bank governor, who is now loved by all Kenyans because he has shown, I am here to demonstrate I'm chief consequence manager in the banking industry. We want to see a lot more chief consequence, especially in the judiciary, which is a big concern. The other day I was speaking with some young business people who are in real estate, in small medium enterprises, and look, their words to me was, we will know government is serious about corruption the day we'll see a few people in the land registry from Kajiado, Nairobi, Thika arraigned in court for some form or fashion and I asked them why. Because we see a lot of problems and we see a lot of lack of integrity in the process. So those are the messages, by the way, we have taken to the leader of the opposition. These are the messages we've taken to His Excellency the President. We want to see consequence management. It's also the message we've taken to the judiciary. Chief Justice himself, how many cases are piled up between the DPP, the Director of Public Prosecution, and the courts? The judges have been given a lot of money. We have seen a lot of spend go. They've been given buildings, computers, resources. It's time for them to deliver for Kenyans, just like we demand of politicians. I think it's time for the judiciary to do so. Parliament is a chief consequence manager by holding government, both houses of Parliament. We are asking Senate, we are asking the National Assembly to hold people accountable. Where I work, if I steal and nothing happens to me, if there are no consequences, what happens? People imagine that this is a field day, and this is a frustration of Kenyans. Because look at America, there's a lot of corruption. But when Bernie Madoff, when somebody tries to do something, they go to jail, irrespective of their position or location. But in Kenya, if you are rich, connected, you are known, you appear on a show like this with Mutegi Njau, nobody wants to touch you. And this is, what has this got to do with, that's why I'm saying that is the light we want. We generate a lot of heat around it. When somebody's arraigned, like recently, I really support Minister Matiang'i. This is a personal opinion, by the way. This thing about stealing, last year, what was circulating on phones was not even exam questions. It was the marking scheme. It's a shame. The National Examination Council is known to call principals across the country to say which position in the country do you want to become. This was a fact. So when somebody starts to do that work, then you get another person saying he's not doing the right work. We really must disagree. But in disagreeing, it doesn't mean we hate Sossion. For that matter, it means I'm just disagreeing with the view that Sossion has presented in this instance. But it doesn't mean I hate him or disagree with him as an individual. The other day, the head of COTU, Confederation of Trade Union, Secretary General Atwoli, said something about productivity on May Day, which all of us in private sector, and including government, including media, I don't think we agreed. But that doesn't mean we hate or we dislike or we disrespect him. So at the heart of Kenya Daima, just coming back, it's a movement of speaking truth to power. When Kenyans, we become very hypocritical. You see powerful people, we don't tell them the truth. We try to scatter around. But this Kenya Daima is telling everybody out there, speak truth to power. And let's entrench integrity, let's bring back civility, and let's kagua kabla ya kuchagua. You know, if you look at this country, Motegi, across the whole country, and I'm sorry to go on like this, people complain everywhere about their county assembly speakers. If you look at the percentage of governors who are arguing with their deputies, and they're the ones who selected their deputies, there are very few governors who don't have altercations between governor and deputy governor. If you look at our conversations, they are more about ego, not substance. So that we must move from heat to light. Really, it's our responsibility. But
you're just, I don't see substance in what we're saying. I don't see some action from your operation, from CAPSA, from Kenya Daima. I don't see anything.
You know, you're right, not yet. Because you know, when you take medicine, when you take a headache tablet, the headache doesn't go immediately. It takes time for the palliative to actually work. So let's allow that time. And I think we are not Kenya Daima, we are not here to chest thump or to make our CVs or to look like we are the ones who have brought these two leaders together. Nothing. We've just gone to them and described to them the impact of issues on us.
The problem, the major act of corruption in this country is through cartels. Zulu was here, she was told us about the ministry we have talked about. She was the Minister of Land. She said this country, even the president cannot deal with cartels. What is the private sector going to do? And the cartels are in private sector. And corruption between private sector and civil servants.
I've just made an appeal to the judiciary here and the Director of Public Prosecutions. Just jail 20 solid Kenyans. People know, because we know these cartels. You know them, I know them.
They were in the newspapers yesterday.
Yeah, but this is what we should do. Not when somebody...
They are now called entrepreneurs.
No, look, the other day somebody was asked to leave from the National Examination Council.
Yes.
We saw political noise, people saying this is our man.
It's a rough crap.
We must agree that that's not, I wouldn't use that word, but I would say that's not acceptable. You can't come and say you come from my village when you have stolen public money. I, Polycarp, must be accountable for my own actions. I can't therefore go and start saying it's my family under attack, it's my party under attack, it is this individual under attack. Surely not. Surely not.
Since you met the president and the bill was passed, and you remember what happened to the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. The commissioners who were there before, they were removed unceremoniously through pressure. And now the IBC, they cannot do the same for the IBC. Therefore we have problems next year.
I think we have a legal framework, and everybody needs to operate within the legal. I think we all need to operate between the legal framework.
The removal of the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission was not through legal means.
When?
It was pressure.
Oh,
the former.
And maybe that is why we landed where we are. Maybe that is why we landed where we are. That's why maybe the debate today is about how do we do it. Maybe that's why we ended up with the errors that we have. But Motegi, let me tell you, I have noticed a pattern as a business leader and somebody in Kenya Daima. There is a pattern to sell a very negative narrative about this country, to young people especially, to tell them there is no hope, that this place is dead, that this place has no future. But if you look at Kenya, Kenya is very resilient and stable. Kenya our quality of life is improving. The opportunity in this country far exceeds the risk in this country. And actually we are misread, misunderstood, underestimated, and totally undermined. I'll give you a simple example. We've hosted the largest amount of refugees perhaps globally. Nobody has ever given us credit for it. We have a very high quality of population. Today, we have reverse brain drain. If you look at the money that comes from diaspora, it's equal to what we are making from selling tea. Kenyans believing I will invest back. International investors, and I work for an international investors, I'm an employee of an international investor. They want to inject more money, but there is we ourselves like to talk down our own town. We like to talk down our own home. We like to sell a very negative narrative through these headlines, through these conversations between me and my friends in social places. We like to tell young people the only way you succeed is through hookup.
Social media is even worse.
No, I
which is individuals, not even the press.
I agree, but somebody has to do something about it, and that's why you see us here. That's why we started engaging different constituencies with a lot of hygiene, with a lot of respect. We have to find a way of talking to one another and not shouting at each other. I'm hoping
there is any hygiene in politics.
And I'm hoping you'll be proved wrong by tomorrow morning. I'm hoping.
Okay.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much.
And God bless you.
All
right, thank you.
I hope we can get some more hygiene in this country.
And